Competitive analysis is how we stack up against the competition and deliver real value to our users. So if you're a consultant or a product manager, this is in our tool set to have a lay of the land and figure out what everyone is doing better or worse than each other as far as position in the marketplace, as far as their funding and all the other attributes of the business, as we'll talk about the features and how well you implement them and which ones you choose to have or not in your product. There are a lot of types of competitive analysis. There's that market positioning, there's competitor profiling, there's capabilities analyses, and there's even immutability analysis, especially as AI and these other things unfold, how easy it is to copy you with software that can be easily not even copied now, but just imitated by asking for new code. It's going to change things in that some companies will be easy to be copied. Now, having the network effects and having it become popular, those things are also difficult in other ways, but it will be easier to copy in that sense. But who do we really compete with? I see it as the difference between peer competitors and the innovative challengers. So peer competitors, maybe you're a Nike and you used to see your peer competitor as Adidas. And now you have an innovative challenger that's Under Armour. Then Under Armour becomes almost a peer in its own right, and you have Lululemon. And then you have another disruptor with Gymshark. So a lot of these things will change over time, but I really see this as you have your peers where you to sort of tactically adjust your strategy with them. And then you also have these innovative challengers that may be actually not good at something that you're incredible at, but there's certain things that they're very good at doing that are valuable to a certain subset of customers. So that's the idea of innovative disruption, which you can read about, of course, and HB's other things with Clayton Christensen and other incredible academics and authors. But the idea really is not that someone new is going to come up and have every single feature. A new Tesla didn't have the range initially with the Roadster that you would have had in a sedan from Toyota with a Camry or a Honda with an Accord, but it was able to deliver with some incredible features like acceleration and quietness and those other things. So you didn't have to match all of those features of the peer competitors. For example, sparkling water, maybe the peer competitors for LaCroix, if you will, are the Pellegrinos, the Perrier. Maybe even if we're going lowbrow with the Dasani Sparkling, or a little bit fancier with the Spindrift. Innovative challengers could be a little bit different. Maybe it's bubbly or ugly drinks, or even innovative because it's an old brand we're trying to bring back alive. Maybe like New York Seltzer, new types of soda that's healthy. So maybe it wouldn't have played in the seltzer market before, but we've got Olipop, Fit Aid if you're more into fitness, Sip Organic Seltzer, and like a ton more. And then also besides the innovative competitors like that, I really like to think of other competitors that may be direct or indirect. So maybe kombucha isn't what you would see as a competitor to those sparkling water. So we can learn a lot from all sorts of competitors in these different areas. So one example we can look at for a focus company is Notion, the note-taking company. Some cool little notes, some organizing around there, filling out a sort of matrix or a table of all the different competitors. And so you've got Evernote, looks like it's not going anywhere now, but that used to be a peer. Maybe that's a status quo company that just is ready to be completely shuttered almost. Or Microsoft OneNote, which is resurging a little bit in the Office 365 since everyone can easily tag that onto their enterprise subscriptions, and maybe it's gonna have some really cool features with AI coming in. You've also got some open source options like Joplin, and you've got some innovators. So Obsidian's getting a lot of buzz. That sounds really neat for that sort of network thought. Rome a few years ago was really exploding in that sort of Twitter talk around different ways to organize things. A lot of really intelligent people were using that for some reason or another. I don't know why. There's Coda, and you can even do similar sorts of organizing and Trello or even Airtable. So even though those are not direct competitors, it might be interesting to explore how they're being used. Even things like Google Sheets. There's a joke about almost any software product that it's basically taking Microsoft Excel that people have created different documents on, and that software is actually what someone would have done as a replacement for the system they created there in Excel. There are a ton of tools to do competitive research of all kinds. One way to find what your competitors could be would be to use SEMrush. So if you want to see traffic to website. They have a neat little feature called Market Explorer, and you can actually pull up a growth quadrant in that. You have a 2x2 matrix. So you have this quadrants where you have different sort of categories, everything from a BCG growth share metric with the cash cows, if you're familiar with that out-of-date framework. You have game changers, leaders, niche players, and established players, and it'll put them there. So you can edit who are on that graph for what you think might actually fit. Maybe it doesn't get things perfect because it is automated like this, but it is a neat place to discover some traffic that might be surging in a potential competitor for you. Another place to check, especially if you're a software company, is alternative to. So you'll find a lot of people searching for alternative to Photoshop, and to figure out what the open source one is, or maybe there's a more affordable option to paying a lot for Creative Cloud, even though those are incredible products, but it's a pretty common search. What's the alternative for Notion? Or what's the alternative for TikTok or CapCut or something like that? It's a great way to do that. All right, so even stepping back a bit, the basic details about a company. There's a lot of ways we can research, especially if it's a tech company. I love using Crunch or Startup. You can use Deal Room, and there's a few others out there that are a little more finance focused and that you could subscribe to. A lot of VC focused companies where you have databases of all, or of course LinkedIn is an option as well. So you can, the rough number of employees, location of the headquarters, the financing. It matters, like if your competitor, are about to have an IPO, or if they're early stage in 3 to 6 people, like what is the kind of competition that you're going to be facing? Like how deep are their pocketbooks? What are they able to accomplish? So do they have the money to be able to pay for expensive social media marketing so they can drive user to their products? Or do they not have that? And that will determine how you will compete. Finding the key features of your app. So you may know, like using your own app, what the key features are. So if you're looking at something like Instagram, you've got your ability to take photos and videos with the app. You have the ability to do features. You have the ability to edit and stitch it together into a reel or a story with multiple steps, or add music and sync it to the music. Like an incredible amount of feature. You have the basics on login and basic security, and two-factor authentication is a feature. You have email notifications, but how do they compare across the apps? And one of them we could compare pretty easily here is even a kind of category like music and music integration in the app. So Instagram versus TikTok versus Snapchat and versus Facebook. So who had the ability to really dive into trending songs, sync them to videos, and easily search by that trending song first? Obviously, that is TikTok. They mastered that. They had the ability to find the way to connect songs that we love and want to hear or haven't heard yet, and be able to use that inner content. That wasn't always the case. It used to be, and in some countries it still is, just putting music to slideshows was a mess of legalities. But long story short, we have the execution of using music in the app and how well different apps do it. TikTok, probably 100%. And they are even coming out with their own music app. Instagram, probably 75%. And then Facebook, really non-existent maybe. And the others, Snapchat, I don't know. Maybe you'd have to tell me. So to do that right, you have sort of a table of all of those features that you're comparing across everyone, so you can get a view of that landscape of how everyone is executing on those features, which ones are even present or not. We like to use Harvey balls. So Harvey balls are named after a consultant that in the 70s created that. So it's embedded in how we kind of think about how to quickly see across all of those different features, which ones are covered or not. Not to be related to the person that did actually create the smiley face, which is Harvey Ball. It is a different Harvey. And that will help us in Excel or Google Sheets make a cool little view of that we can charge clients money for because we are consultants. Competitive landscapes are definitely another consultant favorites. The Gartner Magic Quadrant is the favorites. It has a framework with leaders, challengers, visionaries, and niche players. The axes are the ability to execute and the completeness of vision. So those niche players are the ones that are low in both the ability to execute, maybe they're new or small, and also that completeness of vision. So they're just focusing down on one small thing. The visionaries, so they're low in market presence, but they could be very innovative. So they are the future. so they are something to look out for. Challengers have a high market presence, but they're not as innovative. So they're established, but they aren't groundbreaking. And leaders are high in both market presence and innovation. So those generally are the ones dominating the market. You got to watch out for those visionaries coming up to get them. Gartner, you'll see more in the enterprise space when you're looking at content marketing systems, business intelligence software, and all of those sorts of things versus other products like apps and consumer products like that. For those, you'll have to create your own matrix. So how would you create that matrix? So you have a number of categories that you'll be looking, things like an understanding of the market, the strategy, the completeness of their offering, their vertical strategy. So like Tesla having that whole vertical strategy to be able to have their own batteries, their own chips, very complete strategy, very different. But that completeness gives them a higher score in that regard, and their different over pricing, their track record, their market responsiveness to be able to change to things that are happening in the market, and their execution in marketing and advertising, and the customer experience as well. So all those categories, they break that down, and then that gives them a rank on their ability to execute and completeness of their vision. Another way to do research about your competitors is to check the reviews. You might just even check the reviews on the Google Play Store, on the Apple Store. If you're looking for early adopters using your software tool, you can go to Product Hunt, which is a great place to launch your product. They have reviews as well. Obviously going to be focused on a Tech 4. And you can even do scraping of different websites' reviews. There's scraping software like ParseHub, Browse AI, and Grepser, and many others. You can check out our sister channel with Thinkermetrics, and there are a number of videos on how to scrape reviews using those methods. But that really gets us to what our customers saying about us. We might have reviews on our own sites or our own surveys and things like that. There are a lot of other ways to do competitive research. You can use Rival IQ. Another shout out to our sister channel on Thinkermetrics for a great video on looking at your competitive set, your landscape of your own focus company and 3 other peers, so you can see how they're doing on all the social media platforms, on their engagement rates, on all their standout posts, and what are the most effective times to post, things like that. You can also check out Sprout Social, Brandwatch, and all of those. The analysis of how your competitors are doing in regards to keywords in search. So your search engine optimization research. You can use Ahrefs, Moz, SparkToro, Google Trends even, and see how their keywords are trending over time and answer the public and others. You can look at app data with data.ai, Apptopia, things like that. You can look at more web traffic data from SimilarWeb. You can even do some stuff that's free to look up, like in Meta, Facebook ad library. You can see what campaigns they're running. So what kind of creative are they advertising right now? That's actually incredibly interesting to see what they want the world to see and what they're putting money behind to drive to their sites. As well as software research, we've got things like SaaS Genius, G2, Capterra, SoftwareAdvice.com even, that you could do to see what other types of reviews are out there for the type of software you have. So all this really leads up to one kind of big document of, analysis of the company details and the feature analysis, so that you can give your recommendation on how that ties to all that work you've done before, on jobs to be done, on your personas, on what you think is important strategically to solve for. And then that ties to these different pieces you're hearing about the market and what other people are doing. So to fit that puzzle piece together on what you're good at, what you want to do, and what the market needs, and see where that meshes, and be able to make the case for building the features that you want to build that will help you